Hello, this is the 284th edition of Catch of the Day, available on the Branch Talk YouTube channel. Today we're going to continue reading from a book written by Trent Wildy entitled The King of Crisis in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Starting in the top paragraph on page 48, we read, "The prophet is merely a spokesperson. In contrast, kings rule by their own authority, by the authority of their position, and are not inspired by God as are prophets. The only human king Hosea could accept is an inspired prophet king like David. Hosea's message was radical, even borderline seditious. But doesn't it make sense? Isn't it simply true that if we want to be led by God, a prophetic theocracy is the way to go? Judge for yourself. But if you are going to profess that Hosea's message is true, you need to take it seriously." Lessons for the SDA Church today. What can we learn from Hosea's message for the Seventh-day Adventist Church today? Does it have any relevance? If you think there is no principle of kingship alive in Adventism, then I can see how you might think that maybe it doesn't. But I think we have seen more than enough evidence at the beginning of this article to conclude that kingship is alive and well. And if this is the case, how could Hosea's message not be relevant? We know that kingly power has reared its ugly head in Adventism's past, and we know that many leading men today have warned about what they see as a new rise of kingly power. On this point, there is one more statement I would like to quote from the 2018 Autumn's Council, but this time from someone in favor of the compliance document. Solomon Mafosa, Executive Secretary of the Southern Africa Indian Ocean Division. And Mr. Chairman, the General Conference in session set, and it voted against ordination of women. And some of us have gone ahead and violated that. So, Mr. Chairman, I think there should be a consequence to that. And I stand in full support of this document because we all voted together. These policies are ours as a collective body. Otherwise, we will be like the children of Israel when they had no king, and each person did as they pleased. So, for order to continue in the church, Mr. Chairman, this document is valid. I vote in favor of it. 3.53.35 to 3.54.28. Otherwise, we will be like the children of Israel when they had no king. Oh, what a contrast between the view expressed by Solomon Mafosa and that of Hosea, or that of Samuel, or of Ellen White, for that matter. At a time when kingly power was on the rise in Adventism, Ellen White wrote an article for the Signs of the Times explaining some of the essential principles involved in these matters. Here are some excerpts. The first form of government over men was established by God himself and acknowledged him as the only sovereign. He made known his will by written commandments or commands and revelations, by messages to his chosen servants, by dreams, by signs and wonders. He would have continued to be their king had they been content with his paternal care. Signs of the Times, July 13, 1882, paragraph 1. But increase of population and intercourse with other nations brought a change. The Israelites adopted many of the customs of their heathen neighbors, and thus sacrificed to a great degree their own peculiar holy character. Their worship became less earnest and sincere. Gradually they lost their reverence for God, and ceased to prize the high honor of being his chosen people. Dazzled by the pomp and display of heathen monarchs, they tired of their own simplicity, and desired to be freed from the rule of their divine sovereign. As they departed from the Lord, the different tribes became envious and jealous of one another. Strife and dissensions increased, until it was vainly imagined that the installation of a king was the only means by which harmony could be restored. Signs of the Times, July 13, 1882, paragraph 3. The days of Israel's greatest prosperity had been those in which they acknowledged Jehovah as their king. Signs of the Times, July 13, 1882, paragraph 9. The Lord permitted his people to follow their own course because they refused to be guided by his counsels. Hosea declares that God gave them a king in his anger. In their pride they desired to be like other nations, not considering that with the pomp of royalty they must endure also its tyranny and exaction. This would be a bitter exchange for the mild and beneficent government of God. Signs of the Times, July 13, 1882, paragraph 10. It is a hazardous step to place the scepter in the hands of finite man and crown him monarch. God understands the human heart far better than men understand it themselves. A departure from the Lord's wise arrangement would pervert authority into tyranny and subjection into slavery. Even if a ruler were naturally merciful and beneficent, unlimited power over his fellow men would tend to make him a despot. Such power God alone is able to use with justice and wisdom. Signs of the Times, July 13, 1882, paragraph 11. The Lord had, through his prophets, foretold that Israel would be governed by a king, but it by no means follows that this form of government was according to his will. Though he foresees all things, he often permits men to take their own course when they refuse to be guided by the counsels of infinite wisdom. In this instance, he instructed Samuel to grant their request, but to faithfully warn them of the Lord's disapproval, and also make known what would be the result of their course. Now therefore hearken unto their voice, howbeit, yet protest solemnly unto them, and show them the manner of the king that shall reign over them. Signs of the Times, July 13, 1882, paragraph 12. But the people were bent upon following their own course. The solemn warnings from God, through his aged prophet, had no effect to turn them from their purpose. They returned the answer, Nay, but we will have a king over us, that we may also be like all the nations, and that our king may judge us, and go out before us, and fight our battles. Signs of the Times, July 13, 1882, paragraph 16. Take care.